Welcome back to Unemployed with Anna Roisman. It's your girl. I only cried once today. And that's, you know what? I didn't cry yesterday. I cried once today. But I'm feeling so good right now because I feel like this episode is going to be a beautiful reunion with an old friend of mine who I think is just one of the funniest, greatest people in the world. He's so creative. He is a content creator. He's a digital strategist. He's won a Shorty Award. No big deal. I mean, that's a huge deal. He also is a CEO and co-founder now, okay? We have Kanye West on the podcast. No, we have Gregory Littley on the pod.
Woo.
Hello.
Hello, baby girl. How are you? It's been a hot minute.
It's been a minute, you know? I mean, I miss you. I feel like whenever I see you, you just bring me joy. So this is a good moment.
I feel the same way. Whenever I see you, which is now most commonly on TikTok, you're always popping up on my For You page.
Thank you.
And I love it. I always stop. I sometimes I'll interact with the actual Hilaria Baldwin impressions.
Thank you.
I feel like you're speaking directly to my heart and my soul. But I love it. I love seeing good people continue to grow and be successful. And that's you.
Oh, Greg, I'm going to cry. Thank you.
Don't cry.
Like
it'll be the second time.
Second time. And you want to know something? I literally cried. Like TikTok sent me into the down the hole earlier. I'm psycho about it right now. This is what happens when Anna has too much free time and just wants to create. I like lose my fucking mind. And that's just where I'm at right now. Wow. Maybe not tomorrow. Maybe I'll be better tomorrow, you know?
Well, honey, you're on fire on your reels and TikToks are pure fire. So hopefully that's not what's giving you.
You're very sweet. Thank you. A little bit, actually, but I think I'm just putting too much pressure on myself. This can continue off air. You know what I mean? Ellen knows I'm making content I'm posting every single day. That was the goal, but it's some of it is giving me, I'm learning what I can handle.
One of my favorite ones, and then we'll get off the topic of TikTok, but your Hilaria Baldwin, where you're like, how do you say Boston, Massachusetts?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I cried. Like in a happy tears, not the cry that you're experiencing. But
thank you.
Oh my God, I love it.
Oh, thank you.
But that's always the way your mind has worked. Not only like in terms of impressions, but you've always been able to find not only the most relevant comedic moment, but you've always been able to like create your own story out of it. And that's what I just find so impressive about you.
Oh my God. Greg, I met Greg when I was first starting out making like funny videos, which was, I don't know, 10 years ago, 12 years.
I think 11 years ago, actually.
Something insane like that. Yeah. But we got to flip this around because first of all, I meet you and, you know, I'm this little comedian person trying to find herself in life. And I meet you and you are like, Greg knows how to use every app like to a T. Like you make beautiful content. I'm like, he's like the real deal. You know, I'm just a wannabe who's like, let me put on a wig and see if it works. And you were like, I mean, your Snapchat, like everything.
I loved Snapchat when we first met. Yeah, I mean, that was. I was always like a digital first kind of native like kid, even like, you know, when I was allowed to go on the internet. Our computer was in a very centralized area in our home. So I was never on the internet unsupervised, as my mom would say. But I remember like, you know, making like fan sites, like GeoCities of like Gwen Stefani and the Spice Girls and like Dawson's Creek and Felicity pages. So, I mean, I've always seen the internet and like digital content, you know, although I wasn't able to say digital content back then, I've always seen it as just a way of like expression and creativity and kind of like always a blank canvas. So when Snapchat came around, it was honestly like the most blank of blankest canvases. And it was awesome. And that kind of like, that propelled me into into different mediums, and it got me hooked on quick form video content, which I love. So,
well, I remember Robbie, our good friend. Shout out to Robbie. I hope he listens. We love Robbie. I remember when I was like experimenting, because I was like, I'm gonna make Snapchats or I'm gonna make Instagram, and he was like, you gotta see Greg's shit. You gotta see Greg's shit. He's Greg kills it on those apps. And I was like, oh. But wait, I was just gonna say to you, you brought me back to like that one computer in your house when we had dial-up. I might have been on your Spice Girl websites. Like, maybe,
I mean, you were a Pennsylvania gal, so maybe,
right?
Because I mean, it was another fellow PA creator, as I call you. But yeah, I mean, it got a little intense because I remember I somehow copied and pasted code. I mean, I'm not a coder, and I would never. I do not code. That is not my thing. There are people that do that, and I tip my hat to them. Mm-hmm. But I remember like somehow copying and pasting some type of page onto my. It was a Spice Girl GeoCity that was message boards, and people were leaving like horrible comments. And I remember being so sad. And I just remember being like, I'm going to have to like delete this page. And I remember thinking it was somehow illegal. I was like, oh my God, this is illegal. Like, and now like this will be found out. I will then go to jail, and then I'll never meet the Spice Girls. And I'll not this was like in your, when you're like, 13, you're like, well, this is all real.
I remember our parents were like, it is illegal to download all that music. And I'm like, no, it's not. Everyone does it.
Pictures as well. I remember being told like, this is not your picture. And I would download it, print the picture out, and then delete it really quickly. I'd be like, okay, now I have it. And honestly, it's really funny because I kept like 2 of my like journals. I made like fake magazines out of pictures that I downloaded and printed out from the internet. And when we got together to do a launch video for Party, the brand that me and my co-founder Troy launched last year, and we were able to get Charisma Carpenter to be a cameo. And funny enough, I sent her like just the photo of it because I was like, after she did it, I didn't want her to think I was like a crazy fan of like Buffy and all that.
That's smart.
But on one of my pages, I had like, remember those scissors that would make like squiggly lines? So I had cut out pictures of her and like glue stick them into like a marble, notebook, and it was like killer style, Charisma's killer style. Oh, and it was perfect. Like these 3, like, I was like, what the hell was I like doing an editorial wrap up and like, oh my God. But it was funny
so much. That's great.
She hearted it. So I don't think it was that creepy. She like hearted the
and it was after you were professional. So it's
right.
Fine.
Exactly. I was like, okay, first I'll be professional. Then she'll kind of like see that I'm a safe, kind person. And then I can show her my freak flag.
Yes. That's like when I met Bobby Flay for the first time, and he was eating at the restaurant I was working at, and everyone was like, you got to tell him that you got a puppy named Bobby Flay. And it was a long time ago, and I was like, I don't know if he doesn't like it, like I'll tell him after the meal. And I like waited till he was like on his way out, and I was like, Bobby, Mr. Flay, I don't know what to call him. And then I told him, and he was like not into it, and I was like, thank God I waited. Yeah, he did not give me the response. He was like, why?
Oh God, what do you mean why?
I was like,
what do you mean why?
He's a cute redheaded dog. That's why. And then he thought I was like hitting on him, and he was like, okay, thank you. And I was like,
oh my
goodness, this didn't go well. So I'm glad it was literally the last 2 minutes he was set foot in that place.
Well, how old were you then?
Oh God, I was like 22, 23.
Yeah, so you were probably too old for him at that point.
The tea. Well, I'm very excited for you and Party. I want to hear about this company. I mean, I feel like you're doing big things. You launched a company in a global pandemic. Like, just that sentence alone should go in the memoir,
I was, I mean, it came to be very organically. One of my best friends, Troy, and his husband, Ian, we've been kind of like, we were in these like group chats during like, kind of like, I would say the rougher earlier days of the pandemic. Mm-hmm. So we're already kind of like, they were in LA. I'm here in Manhattan, New York. And we were already kind of acting as like such a really wonderful support system and just kind of staying in contact. And we would do a few Zooms, as people would do, with like some wine or drinks or whatever the heck we were doing in 2020. And from there, it really kind of sparked conversation that we had kind of put like a pin in. So to kind of give you like the full quick backstory, I met Troy, and it's at Lord Troy on Instagram for anyone that's listening and wants to follow him. He's wonderful. We had met through kind of like the influencer world. We met at an ASOS dinner, and immediately, I guess it was like 5 or 6 years ago, I just like fell in love with him. Like, he's such a genuine, kind-hearted man. And he's so creative, and he just sees the world in like a very different way. And I just think that is, I'm always like enthralled by that. And from the moment I met him, I started using him for a lot of my brands, and he was just overperforming in terms of his content, his copy, like even the usage of his links. I don't want to go into like marketing lingo and bore your listeners, but his content was just performing really, really well. And I really tried to plant the seed and kind of egg him on to make something of his own, because it's great to get a paycheck. It's wonderful to get a paycheck, but it means even more to really take ownership and kind of encompass that entire like financial funnel of your own company. Right. So that had always been like conversations between us, and we always kind of like creatively explored those ideas. And then it wasn't really until last year that he got really serious about it, and I got really serious about it. And then we kind of came together, and nail polish was kind of the most dominant way of that we felt that you could express yourself. And if you just see his page, he's got some amazing nail art. He is not like a traditional nail artist, but he's very expressive with the different colors he uses, and he plays with like press-ons and all these great things. So it just felt like, and I had a very corporate traditional background in nail color and gel nails. So it just made like a lot of sense for us to like venture out and do like whatever we wanted and create Party Beauty. So our first collection launched like right before the end of last year. So we started kind of the social conversation in October, and then we launched the actual first collection in November. And it's been really wild. I mean, like, you work on something, you put it out in the world, and you're like, maybe someone will see it. Maybe one person will buy it. But sales have been really strong. I've just been consistently impressed. And we've organically been picked up. Like, we were in Style's gift guide, we were in Teen Vogue's gift guide, and then Teen Vogue took it a step further and contacted us, and we had like a really nice feature about the brand right before the close of last year. So it's been really, that's
amazing.
Yeah, it's been really rewarding. It's like, again, we kind of walked into this, and I was like, well, this could go either way or anyway. And the fact that it has kind of taken on a life of its own, and even like our shade names have, people kind of comment on that and how creative they are, and our shade ranges and our colors. And it's really important to us not to just put products out into the world. As you know, every day our earth is on fire.
Sure.
So, the idea of just like,
kind of drowning.
Right. It's either or. We're either being attacked by tornadoes or swooping tsunamis. Pick your damage, literally. Yeah. So we're taking time on the second collection. It'll come out probably Q2 of at the end of beginning of Q2 this year. And so we just want to be as sustainable as possible. We want to always make sure that we are providing colors that help people just express themselves.
I love it. So much. I don't know if you know, I am a nail art fiend.
I know you are. I see. Yeah. Oh, that's really nice.
Aren't these gorgeous?
Okay, so I just want to let you know.
This is my interview for Party Beauty Influencer. Hello.
Yeah, I just want you to know that like I am not gifted. I'm not a gifted nail artist, so I take my collection to a nail salon and have someone apply that. Do you do your own nails, or do you?
No.
Okay.
I get them done. I actually am pretty good, but I don't have the patience to do it.
I'm really good at one hand, and then I switch and it just becomes terrible. So so it's okay. I know what my strengths are.
But I got peeps I could bring it to who could do insane things.
Those are beautiful.
I have become close with multiple nail artists that would, thank you.
Is that polish or gel?
It's a Japanese gel, so it lasts me like a month.
Okay, nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
Are those your real?
They're my nails.
Very nice. Very healthy nail bed.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. See?
I love...
Hi, my name is Anna Roisman. I am verified on Instagram, 22,000 followers, and here are my hands. Here we go.
Can I ask you a question about that? Your whole like nail, because so much as we get deeper into like nail care and nail color, and also kind of like your introduction to nail polish and that whole world, was that like through someone like your mother? Because I love when you put your mom on social. I mean, she's like she's phenomenal. She's like my favorite. Like, your boyfriend is my favorite second character. Your mom is like tied for my favorite second character on your social.
Thank you.
She's phenomenal. So is that something that you two...
Every week growing up, she would get her nails done. You know, that was like her thing. And I would go from a very young age. I was like, this is what ladies do. They get their nails done, you know, and they talk shit to their manicurist.
This is what girl bosses do.
Yes.
File that down and bring me another.
She had the same manicurist, you know, the same person who waxed my legs when I was like fucking 12 years old. And I was like, I want to do those things. And, you know, I remember growing my nails out long for my bat mitzvah because I wanted a French. I wanted a French white tip, you know? Yeah.
Same for my bar mitzvah.
Yeah. I do love, actually, my brother would come with us to manicures like all the time. And he'd be like, I want something for boys, like silver. And I'm like, Mom, were you really surprised when he came out? Like, come on, he wanted silver nails as a little boy always.
I mean, that's not the only sign, but it could certainly be a sign. You know, nail color is literally for, I say, anyone with fingers. If you have fingertips and you have nails at the end of that, like my husband, he's basically chewed off all of his nails. So my brand isn't for him right now, you know? So if you have fingertips and nails at the end of those fingertips, nail polish is for you.
I think it helps me because I love how it looks and I really like value the art and I love seeing color on my hands and that it makes when my hands are painted that I don't bite them. But if I had just bare nails, I'd take my stress out of my hands hardcore.
Working in beauty definitely prevented me from, so I had a terrible nail biting issue, and working in beauty stopped that right away because you're sitting at tables and in boardrooms with people that are, you know, intelligent and bright. And of course they deserve to be there, but they also do take time with how they present themselves to the world. So, and I would just be like, you know, like pulling back my fingers underneath my, and be like, oh, next slide. I would just like hit the slide with my nose, much like a chicken. But yeah, so that
you know,
hit
someone
me
out there is
hard.
like, remember that guy Greg with no hands? He launched like a nail company. Like, what the fuck?
Good for him. I didn't even know he had fingers.
So okay, party. I'm really excited about this. I think it's perfect, and I think you just bring. It's so good. I know. I'm literally, we'll talk after. I really want to like somehow work with you.
I need to send you some, but yeah, we should. I have my lovely little display case.
I love it.
Look at you. Beautiful.
It's really beautiful. The colors are great.
Thank you.
So I want to take it back to first jobs. Okay. What were like the first, did you work when you were, you know, a teenager in Pennsylvania? Like what was the first job you ever
work in? Yeah. I mean, I had, I was involved in things in school. And so, I mean, like during the quote unquote school year, I didn't really like have a job, but my parents have a design and construction company in Pennsylvania and really like Philadelphia, New Jersey area now. And I remember like getting my working papers when I was like 14 or whatever and being like, you know, kind of unleashed on demolition areas and like just breaking apart kitchens and bathrooms and taking it down, which was like a wonderful therapy for a young person. It was great.
You could just as like a date night, right? You go and smash shit.
Exactly. There's like demolish rooms, and I think that's what they turned Marquee into. But I'm kidding. Marquee is still standing. You can edit that out, right, Jane? Jane, can we? But so that was my entry into working, and I will say that, like, though that wasn't necessarily the path for me, like to follow what my mother and my stepfather did with the creation of their company, it did really instill like an amazing work ethic in me, and I found a lot of joy and pride in being productive and helping build something, or in that case, helping tear something down.
Being a part of a project.
Right. Yeah. And then from there, I remember my mom, like, I mean, maybe you remember this, Anna, but did you get Philadelphia Magazine when you were living in? Of course. Yeah. Philadelphia Magazine.
Is it around still? I bet she still gets it.
Of course. That was for you listeners up in the elite coastals, that was our T magazine. That was our NYT, if you will.
The who's who of the Philadelphia, greater Philadelphia.
Greater Philadelphia area. Don't forget Jersey and Delaware. And I remember my mom had ripped out, I think I was in high school. Yeah, maybe. But, and my mom came to me with like a ripped out page from Philadelphia Magazine, and she was like, you should read about this company. And it was a marketing company called Gyro. I hope I'm getting the name right. And they were basically my mom knew that I was hyper creative. I was really into art. I was also into like theater and like we had a class at my high school that was kind of like debate. I wasn't on a debate team, but I loved like that whole. So my mom was like, all of your strengths are like wrapped up into this marketing company. So I remember I read the whole thing and I was just like enamored and obsessed. And I applied for an early internship. So I started interning like the last 2 years of high school, and it was all like Philadelphia based company. And then I remember
that's amazing. First of all, props to your mom. My mom was like, really? Are you really, you want to go to school for like acting? Like, can't you get a real degree first? And your mom was like, here are your strengths. Why don't you get an intern? I'm like, wow, what a beautiful, like, she's rolling out the carpet for you. My mom's hold on, girl.
I think my mom also liked the fact that the marketing company, their headquarters were across the street from her and my stepdad's showroom. So I think she was also, because I'm an only child. So, and for only children out there, sometimes it's your parents' goal to keep you as close or to keep you on as like tight of a leash as possible, because, you don't have like brothers or sisters to like help alleviate that burden. So I think there was a little bit of like, he'll get to do what he wants to, but he'll also be close.
Yes, there's strategy behind this. She's like, he's not doing drugs. I can see him through the window.
Exactly.
What
is that? Honey, did you get your lunch? I picked it up from Wawa.
He's like, hold on, I have to go to the lobby. My mom's here with my lunch.
I remember it was funny though, because they would allow you to like give ideas about all different things, and they included you in these brainstorms. Brainstorms were huge at the company, but then they had a lot of like over 18 clientele. So they had like they had like a alcohol company, and I think they had like, I honestly feel like because this was like, I think they may have had some kind of nicotine brand as well. I mean, I don't know. It could be like, they had some kind of like nefarious, like you have to be 18 or 21 to, so those we were like literally not, it was like me and this other girl. It was like very fun. We were like not allowed to like, you can't even pitch an idea for that. So it was very interesting how they like, how they kind of like kept us away from that. Yeah. And the other things would just kind of squeeze our brains out. But then from there, I like met people from the Philadelphia Film Office, and then like, like kind of just like talked my way into interning at a company that was helping the Philadelphia. I was always like, I enjoyed the social aspect of school. I wasn't an amazing student. I wasn't, I didn't cause trouble and I didn't fight with classmates. I had a lot of friends and I really enjoyed the social aspect, but it was very difficult for me to sit at a desk and kind of regurgitate back. That was just not my thing. And I think that I was blessed from an early age that my mom kind of noticed that, but she could see that I was smart and I was capable and I had like the foundation of talent. So she always tried to to the best of her ability, kind of steer me in the way of kind of like fostering that.
A beautiful story. Honestly, I wish I had your mom. You laugh at my mom, but my mom is... My mom's like, good luck to you, sweetheart. What is that? What are you doing? Well, comedy?
I mean, at this point now, it's like, especially when I would, when I got into digital, that was when I kind of lost her, and she was like, "I'm sorry, what?" Like when you could no longer
generational difference, yeah,
right. Like it was very like I remember when I was at Iced, Robbie's sister Leslie, who I like adore and have like credit to so much of like who I am and a success. She's an amazing person. I remember that like there was this moment where one of our clients, I had to go out to LA for like 2 weeks. And my mom was like, because we were filming television commercials and then all of the digital content at the same time. And it was like, my mom was like, what? I go, so why are you for what? For 2 weeks?
For digital?
It's all over the computer that you just can. I'm like, well, no, it's different. You have to like, frame things differently and take and like have like different cues and, so I remember that was like for her when I got deeper and deeper into digital, and now it's like she's come full circle because she sees it's kind of easier for her to see the success, and it's easy for her to see like what I'm doing and how it's all happening. And but there was a middle period where she was like, "You lost me. You're just kind of so this is like this is just on the internet." You know, so.
Is she tech savvy? Is she good at the apps and stuff? Yeah.
Yeah. She's on Instagram and she does Instagram stories. She'll make, God love her. She's a good woman. She will make her hashtags enormous.
Oh,
and I'll just be like, let's just, and it'll be like, she's a very, I'm from Philadelphia. So legally, if you still live in Philadelphia or around the Philadelphia area, legally, you still have to partake in celebrating Philadelphia sports. So she's very involved in like the comings and goings of like the inner workings of the Eagles and what's happening with like the baseball team, the Phillies and all of these different aspects of it. And she'll like get in and she'll toss up some like, Philly sports gossip about like what's going on between the coach. And I'm just like, what is it? Like who is, but then the hashtags are like, and then if they lose, like Phillies, like let us down, huge words. And I'm just kind of like, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess it's okay that, I guess it's good that she's like, like in her 60s and still like, very
sure.
With it, so to speak. But I would wish that she would just be a little more sensitive with the text. And I've tried to say this to her. It doesn't go over well.
Maybe we should swap because I bet you could help my mom because when I try to teach her, my mom pretends to forget how to post on Instagram every 3 to 4 months. She's like, I don't remember. I don't know how. I don't remember. She goes on it because she likes everything now.
Right.
But she forgets even how to post to the point where you'll love this. I can't even make this shit up. When she first joined Instagram, she'd post any photo. So like I screenshot something off of I said, Mom, this is my friend's wife's cousin's dog or whatever. My mom was like, love those dogs. Posts the photo of a bunch of women and dogs she never met who exist, who I'm like loosely connected to. Post it. I go, Mom, why did you post that? Someone's photo. You don't know these people. I sent you a screenshot. And she goes, I liked the dogs. I liked the look of them. I'm like, what is wrong with her? And then this is in the pandemic. It gets even better in the pandemic. She started buying. She's got a fish guy in Philadelphia. If you're
oh my God, my mom has an IT guy. My mom has a butcher guy. Everyone. If you're from Philadelphia, like you have whatever the need is, you attach guy to it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, first of all, like, have you asked them what their pronouns are? Like, do you even, none of that. It's just like, like my grandmom's connected to the IT guy. My uncle and aunt are connected to this IT guy and my mom and this man. I'm like, Mom, you've kept him in business for over 20 years. Like,
I love it.
It's always, and I'll be like, especially during the Zoom moments in early 2020.
Yeah.
I would be like, oh, just do that. No, I'm going to ask my guy. No, but I'm going to ask my guy. And like my grandma was having an issue with Zoom. So like she had to get the guy on it. And I was like, wait, like I'm capable of helping. Like I'm literally like.
This pandemic was great for your mom's IT guy. He was like,
know.
None of these people are going to know how to work these sites. I'm going to be busy for the next few months, guys.
And I don't think I've ever, oftentimes I sit and I wonder, and I'm like, who is this person? I just one day I want to meet him. Like when it all kind of dies down and Omni Chronosaurus is done taking all of us by the throat, I'd love to just sit down and be like, hey, tell me about you.
I love that. No, but the fish guy, this is the best. She was jealous because every Thursday or Friday she goes to pick up her fish, and he emails a menu of what he's got fresh for the week, and she goes and gets it and picks it up. And
Where does she go? Does she go to the Italian market?
No, it's like a private. It's like a guy's private like business that her friends started doing it in the pandemic. It was like
of course,
a new biz or something. Wow. I don't know, or not new, but it thrived in the pandemic. So because she wasn't going to the store, she could just go outside, pick up the fish.
Right.
And but she was jealous because she goes, I don't understand why they're not posting my fit. Like she wanted them to post her fish dishes or something. And I was like,
wait, is she private? She private?
No, but she's not even posting them. But she didn't understand, or she wanted to post their dishes because she liked the look of them. And I go, Mom, you can't just post someone's food. Like,
you can't just hack someone's content and claim it as your own, honey. That's not how this works.
Now, I taught her how to edit, how to, write she doesn't post. She knows how to write a little bit of text, but she doesn't know what a hashtag. No.
Oh, my mom uses hashtags. She uses a lot of hashtags. She loves family is everything. Anytime I post something that has a family feel, like if it's me and my husband, or if it's me and my cousins or me and my grandma, always family is everything. Family is everything.
I love it.
And I'm like, yes, family is everything, but you could change it up.
I'm not gonna lie, this conversation's making me want to follow your mom. I'm gonna. She's gonna be like, I got a new follower.
It's
Philadelphia
her company.
Girl.
It's her and my stepdad's company. I want to make sure I get the name correct. I don't know if she's private. It's JL Designs Philly.
Perfect.
Yeah. So she's and she, you know what? It's cute. She posts she has a passion for cooking and baking, and she's a wonderful cook. And she creates beautiful cakes and yummy things. And every once in a while she'll take it to the feed if she's a lot of it is her work that she's been doing, that her and my stepdad have been doing over the course of over 30 years now.
Yeah.
But then she's feeling a certain dish that she made is as she calls it, feed worthy. She'll throw it on the grid.
Nice.
So yeah,
I love it.
It does make it better because especially when I've during this time and just kind of growing up and talking to different friends and hearing what their families or mothers or parents think about social media or anything, the apps as some people call them, it does make it easier for her to she has less of a barrier of understanding those type of things because she does partake and she has seen the power of social media for her own company as well. So
I'm sure
I can't complain.
Yeah. So, all right. You got these internships. You're already on your path. What did you go to school for?
I went to school for graphic design.
Okay.
And then the last 2 years I minored in communication. So I graduated St. John's University with a BFA in graphic design. And then the minors really kind of helped me kind of enter into magazines and publishing internships. Mm-hmm. But I was, there wasn't a semester. I mean, I feel like this is bad and I haven't really said this out loud, but I feel like my mom specifically knew that I just I caught that intern bug and I just wanted to, and I did, I interned every single semester. I wheeled and dealed, created some kind of verbal lie so that I could, intern each semester of like all like my college history.
That's amazing though.
Yeah.
Like in terms of leaving and having experience, you know, so many of us were like, I guess I got to get an internship now that I've graduated college and need to support myself. And it's like, oh wait, they don't pay. Right. I guess I got to work at a restaurant. Like I hated that, you know.
So before, because I was interning way before 2010, you know, because in 2010, New York passed a law that you have to pay interns. They call it like the Olsen twin law because it was a lawsuit between the Olsen twins and like hundreds of unpaid interns, allegedly. But at that time, I tried to divide it between internships that didn't pay, and then I actually sought after internships that did pay. Okay. So I was able to like balance it where, I mean, I was literally making like $110 every other week. Like it wasn't like I was rolling in this intern money, but I did try to like, you know, balance it out a little. And honestly, it was through my internships that led to, you know, my first job. So it was, and it also kept my mind activated, and it kept me, not busy, but it kept me like motivated and interested to like constantly. And it also allowed me to like try out a whole bunch of things. I was like, oh, do I want to do PR? Do I want to work at a book publishing company? Do I want to work at a magazine publishing company? So I tried out all these different like companies and roles. And I always volunteered to do as much as possible to see like if I really liked something, or if I was like, you know, feeling a little, you know, against a certain kind of role or task. So I, like I said, like, I feel like that was like such a blessed learning moment in my life. And I'm glad that I just like went as hard as I did.
I bet they loved you. I feel like you were.
They did. I was always
ultimate intern.
Yes, I was like a favorite. Like I was a favorite. Like people would like ask for. I remembered at Condé Nast, I was working like towards the end of the days.
Did you say Kanye West?
Yeah, Condé Nast. I interviewed for like a role for Teen Vogue. Did not get that, obviously. And then they picked me up in this men's fashion magazine. So it was like Cargo and Men's Vogue. And they just like stuck you in a closet. And I worked my BUTT off to the point where they like made a schedule for me so that they would know when I was finished something.
Oh, wow.
And then they could ask me. So yeah. And then both magazines folded like immediately. But the art director there, she brought me over to AMI, American Media, and that's where I got my first job at Star Magazine.
Nice.
Yeah.
And what did you do? What was your first like real job at Star?
My first real job was full-time crier. I cried a lot. It was.
Miss that intern life? You're like, I miss these paychecks are stressful. The taxes.
Everything was stressful there. It was just these. I had never before been in. I'd never like experienced. Like I'd heard deadlines, and like, of course, when you're in college, like things are due and you have like papers, and because I was heavily involved in the art program, I had like critiques, and you'd have to like get everything together. But there was something a little bit more controlled and human about the college deadlines and things of that nature. And then you were like thrown into a world where people's like celebrities' lives became like the thriving commerce and the backbone of a publication, so that you were no longer beholden to any kind of life schedule. You were now at the whim and the service of like every major celebrity's comings and goings. Right. And it was like, it was wild. It was wild. And it always felt out of control. It always felt like, you know, every day would be your last. Like I was always kind of thought that I was going to be fired for absolutely everything. And,
would you get like calls at 3 a.m. like so-and-so, you know?
Well, I started in the art department, and, but like I always, you know, one thing doesn't service me. So I always I'm very social. So I'll talk to everyone else that works at the magazine. I'll become friends. And then I also like to go out at that time. So I was also reporting and doing like stories, and then laying those stories out, and just was getting so involved. And I loved it. Like it was honestly like amazing to touch so many different pieces of like an organization. Like I always get so enamored by that. And some of the people that I met at that time are people that I'm still in touch with to this day. So it was like a very foundational moment. But I mean, I remember like finally coming home for Thanksgiving, and it was like literally like 3 months into the job or 4 months into the job. I don't know. I started in like September because I was like, I'm taking the summer off. No such thing. And I remember like whipping out my Sidekick. I had a BlackBerry and a Sidekick, and like,
of course,
just like 78 emails and texts. Like I remember the number 78 was like the blinking, and I was like, oh God, someone passed away. And it was 78. Nick and Jessica getting divorced. And they,
oh my God.
And they did it the day before Thanksgiving so that they would try to minimize the amount of coverage.
The press. Wow.
And I remember like whipping out my laptop, which was literally like a PC laptop at that time. Like
a brick.
Right. Like at this point, I now like, you know, you go to companies and you're like, I can only use a Mac. Like, you know, now they're a little bit more. And I remember like literally like doing like a side story and then like just gathering images that I was sent of like Ashley Simpson and like being like, how is Ashley responding? And like all of these like crazy things. And I remember like at the time my parents lived like in Philadelphia proper. And I just remember being on like the second floor and like looking at like really, because in Philadelphia, they like literally start decorating for Christmas like October 20th.
Yeah.
Like it's boom. And I remember looking out and seeing like everything really pretty and decorated and just being like, oh, what am I doing? Like this is real. And I'm like chained to my like laptop. And so it was those kind of moments. But I mean, that job ushered in so many amazing opportunities and connected me to so many people that I'm still in contact with now. I mean, I met one of my best friends in the world there, Kelly Will. I think you've also possibly met Kelly Will as well.
Cool.
And we bonded, you know, over like our shared trauma in the kitchen, and have been best friends ever since. So, you know, it wasn't all bad, but from, I mean, I burned out really quick in like celebrity weeklies. Like I jumped from star to okay. And then I was just like, oh, this is the same thing. Like, I guess when you're younger, you're like, no, I know what I need to do. This will fix all of it. It's also like dating. Like you meet like an incredibly like terrible, threatening man, and you're like, you know what? He's never met me. Yeah. I can fix him. No, you can't. You cannot fix him. You cannot. Please step away. So I kind of burnt out rather quickly over the course of like 3 years in celebrity weeklies. From the turnover rate and just constantly, you would be asked to produce such a large volume that was just so bizarre to me. Like it was just like, oh my, like you would just be like, and stories would be getting killed. Right. And like photos were too expensive. You had to swap it out. I remember like blurring a crotchal area of a female celebrity, pixelating it. And I was just like, my parents like paid for me to go to college. What am I doing? I just like, what is happening?
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like you from hearing like how you were younger, you thrived in like, I need a schedule. I need to know, you know, I need 6 jobs. So I have this, and this, and I need to know like where I'm going to be here. And I have a meeting and I have a phone call. And like, it sounds like you do really well in that kind of situation. Whereas where they're like Thanksgiving, New Year's, Christmas, whatever, you know, boom, 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 boom. And you're like,
and when you were like, I mean, you're right. I mean, you know, thank God for therapy because now I know that's not how to conduct your life. But at that time I was like, keep me going. Like, and the problem with that is that, you know, and I would be surrounded by adults I mean, I was an adult too, but like I would be surrounded by older people that sometimes would take me aside and be like, hey, like you actually don't have to do this much. Like you're great at what you do and people really like you. And like, you don't have to exert this much energy. Like you're good as you are. And I'm thankful to those people. But it still wouldn't quiet that voice of being like, what's next? Well, I was always like, what's next? And, that's it just kind of naturally flowed into digital because at the time I was also being asked to like consult on like, what should we put on our website? What should we do for like our Facebook pages? And what was gaining traction digitally wasn't gaining traction, like weren't the same things that they were like spending a lot of money on for like imagery and content in the magazine. So
interesting.
I was like, we need to switch it up. Let's talk about Ali and AJ.
So any other jobs that stand out that were like some of your favorites? I mean, it sounds like you've had a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of, as I said, I kind of, over the course of like 3.5 years, burned out in celebrity weeklies.
Right.
And
then where did you go?
So I remember a marketing manager at Ford Motor Company.
Mm-hmm.
I gave a quote in the New York Post about something with Twitter. I was talking about Twitter, and she saved it and randomly called me up and was like, "Hey, we're trying to do this program for like millennials. And I read your comment about Twitter in the New York Post, and it resonated with me. Would you like want to consult on like a large scale program we're trying to do?" And that was kind of my foray into like specific digital marketing. So after I did the Ford program, which was great, and Robbie attended, Robbie had said like, "Hey, I think you should speak to my sister, Littley, about coming to Ice Media." And I was like, "Oh no, that's like an agency. Like I can't do that. Like I don't know how to do that." And also a lot of times with new things, someone would be like, "Hey, do you think you could do this?" And I'm like, "Probably not." But then like, they're like, "Well, just try it." And sometimes they believe in me more than I do. And then I try it. And then I'm like, "Oh, this is my job now." So I had met with Littley, and it had, through conversation, because I had never had a lot of experience with an agency, and it also was a very intimidating world to me. Mm-hmm. She had kind of, in a very concise way, kind of walked me through how my experience at like publications and even on Ford was on par with how an agency runs and operates. So she kind of fostered that and helped me. And
that's cool.
Those were those
she's
were
a
like,
boss. She a boss, Les.
She is.
You know?
Well, she sees the world in, like, I remember like early days when I was there, I would just think everything was on fire. I would be like, "Oh my God." And I would come to her with like just a pile of fire. And she'd be like, "Okay, all right, let's."
Yeah, she's calm.
Have we pulled this apart, or maybe have we looked at it this way? And I remember, just struggling to put together decks, in Keynote and on PDFs. And she has such a, it's an art to her. And people compliment me now on my deck proposals and the way I'm able to lay things out. It's completely due to her. She literally took my laptop, amazing. Sat down, and she's like, we're gonna go through this slide by slide. And it was that training that allowed me, because she knew that I had great ideas and I had like good things to say, and I was struggling at translating it. And she was able to kind of crack that code for me and to give me the ability to put my thoughts and ideas into a slide form that would then get people excited and interested, and kind of like come over to the side of like what I was trying to
That's
relay.
Awesome. You don't get a lot of bosses who will sit down and do that. It's either like you do it or you don't, or, you know.
And I was and I was always like, everything's on fire. And she'd be like, Is it though? Like it's probably not on fire, but
I love it.
I mean, I just, that experience, that I was there for almost 5 years, and that altered the course of my life and forever changed the trajectory of my career. So I'm forever grateful for that time frame. Like if I look at anything before it, I was just kind of like running around with like literally sometimes my head severed off. And it was coming to an agency that really kind of made me concentrate on what my strengths were, and allow me to kind of quiet what I wasn't, and kind of focus. And so
that's incredible. And you must have thought I was this whack job. You don't understand, Ellen.
No.
This office that he worked in, the office they had. So I was good friends with Leslie's brother, Robbie, who also worked for the company.
Yes.
And Robbie
he was a big producer. He was a producer for like all of our,
Robbie and I met doing comedy, and then we like hit it off. We became like best friends, and we were like, let's make videos. Like we don't need to just do improv on a stage. And so we started making videos, and we would go there to edit on his big giant editing computers. We would sit there.
Doc.
It's like how I kind of learned, Premiere, and we would hours and hours and hours. Like Littley would come in and be like, you guys are still working? Like we would like overnights, you know what I mean? Like, cause he had to work in the day, we both had jobs. And so I'd go down to Soho. It was just so funny, like to think.
But I loved that time, because you guys, because the great thing about that was that, and also something that Robbie really taught me he didn't like verbalize this, but just by his behavior and his actions, Robbie is someone that would concentrate on his like business responsibilities, but then always give time and space to his passions outside of it. And that was such a wonderful example to see someone really invest that time, because that was an example to me. Like, you know, your job is your job and that's great, but it's also important to constantly keep fostering relationships with your passions and your interests outside of like whatever you claim to be your quote unquote 9 to 5, but no one works just 9 to 5.
Sure.
But you would do that. You guys
hit it off. We would like, he was very, I was really motivated, and there were things I didn't have all the keys to making like a great looking video, and he had the idea.
You had the idea, like you would script it out, you guys would film, then you would come back and edit together. They would be so fun. I remember just we'd
film a lot in that office too. A lot of videos.
But I was always excited to see you, because then that meant like something new was about to come out. Like you would do like these really fun spoofs. Like remember the spoof you guys did for Valentine's Day? It was like National Donut Day.
Yes, you're in it.
It was so fun. Oh, yeah.
Scene. Maybe I'll put that on TikTok for National Donut Day.
Please.
I like putting up bold.
But you guys would do these like hilarious, and then remember the Fashion Week stuff?
Yes. Oh, like, that was so fun.
Like that was good.
So fun.
I
would do that again.
It was right before, I think it had to have been like sometime when I was feeling just completely distraught during COVID, but I went back and I definitely found the Fashion Week videos, but I think I found them on Vimeo.
Oh, maybe.
Did I find them on Vimeo? Maybe, yeah. And I watched them. They were so funny. And you would know, like, I knew that you knew who some of the people were, but you would do these interviews. And now it's like you see so much. And that was like, what? Like 9-10 years ago,
a long time ago.
And now you see like things like Billy on the Street, or like even like Jimmy Kimmel will do things in that universe. But you were
that's
the
all
OG.
I want to do is go out on the street in a wig and interview people who don't know who I really am.
So funny though. It was so funny. And like people would be like, oh yes, I know of you. And you're like, thank you. Oh, do you watch
my
the show? And they're like,
I pretended to be TJ Maxx's widow. The widow. And I was like, you know him? You know TJ Maxx? He's a big store. It's not a person. Oh, those videos were so fun. Maybe Robbie will listen to this podcast. We'll go out and do another one, and ask people.
There was a purity to it, and there was a like energy to it that was perfect for that time, because I mean now everything is so gatekept. Like you can't get that close. Like you would never have access in the because there's no tents anymore. It's now you go to all these different places.
Zoom,
right. So like there are places are in Brooklyn, like places are in like Lincoln, like all these different places. Yeah. So because Fashion Week is so scattered, or because like Fashion Week isn't really what it was at that time. I mean, you had to have the only time that you could have done something like that was then.
Yeah.
So
but
fun. You know what I want? You know what I'd love for you to do? I mean, not that like not that you've asked for my advice, but I would love for you to pick like a convention, like when they come back, like, like a VidCon. And I had this idea for you to be, so I'm obsessed with the comeback, but like the comeback is a Lisa Kudrow show. Yeah. But I'm obsessed with the idea of like having you be like, now you're kind of like someone who was huge on YouTube like 10 years ago. And then you kind of like try to reemerge into it, and you're at VidCon and you're like, oh, do you remember? Yeah, that's me. Oh, are you a fan?
It's so funny you're saying this. We had a whole deck to pitch a show about this with all these events that we wanted to go to, and like Comic-Con and all these, and and I would change characters based on the event we were going to. Maybe we'll bring it back.
But we should talk about this, because then you could also have like headshots, but the headshots are from when you were famous on YouTube, and be like, oh, I love it. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Like and subscribe. Remember? Do you remember the voice? Yeah. So like, because now YouTube has had enough history that like, because the comeback was really kind of, making fun of reality before reality was anything. Mm-hmm. But the idea
I love this
of like
brainstorm session on the pod. I love that we're like wrapping it up. Greg's like, my brain's going. We're going there. I always want to work with him on something, so this is perfect. I'll do it all. You
always enter my mind for ideas, because I think that you know how to like mold something. I think like, you know how to like, if someone brings something to you, you know how to like, you're like, actually, now it's bread. Before it was just dough. But but when I watched your videos, I totally thought of this idea of like, what if she played like this quote unquote washed up YouTube star that like 15 years ago had like viral success. And now you're like, oh, do you remember? Oh,
we're going to do this. We're going to make this happen. You're helping. But Ellen's going to produce it. We're going to do it.
Right. Because you could also be like, Ellen, don't use that, Ellen. You know?
Craig, this has been so much fun. I love this. I could talk to you I could do a 2-hour episode with you.
I know.
Is there anything else you missed? Any like last story you want to tell us, or anything that the only thing I'll say is that so now I'm like completely full-time freelance.
Okay. I work with brands, and I'm also like fostering and pushing Party Beauty with Troy. But the thing that it's hard for me to, people sometimes will reach out to me and I was at a full-time job, and I made the decision last year to be like, I just need to do something for me, and that's okay. I would say that like, if anyone's looking to make that transition, like everyone now is kind of talking about the big, like the great resignation, as they're calling it. People who have full-time. Yes. Cheddar News loves to say the great resignation. I'm kidding. I love Cheddar News, and I've actually pitched them. So, I would say that the best way, like if you're looking to do that, think really deeply about the people that you loved working with in the past. And as you start that path of doing your own freelance work, reach back out to them. Like the people that you remembered and that are at companies that you liked working with, and be like very prescriptive about work that you accept. And really foster relationships with people that you have enjoyed or have impacted your life. And don't be afraid to charge what you're worth. And I have a ratio. I make sure that I have paying clients, and then once a quarter, I pick like a reach school, I pick a reach school, a reach brand, or a reach company, and I pitch them an idea, and I'm like, let's talk about prices if it works out. So I have my paid clientele, and then I have one reach school, reach brand.
That's really good advice.
And then I do a personal project each quarter that showcases my work or the way I think to the world on the internet. So those are like the 3 things that I try to keep doing every quarter.
That's so helpful and great. I'm serious. I really appreciate you saying that. It's, you know, that's your secret to success, and you're doing it. Yeah. And you got a beautiful home and family and husband and nails. Everything's working out. It's true.
Yes. And therapy. So do those things every quarter, and there's 4 business quarters in a year. And also make sure to keep a standing appointment with your therapist.
Beautiful. Love it. Yes. Well, tell everybody where they can find you and find Party Beauty. Please drop some handles for me.
Yes. Partybeauty.com is where you can shop our entire collection, or single bottles or pouches, everything. And then at Party Beauty is all of our social handles. So we've got Twitter and Instagram, of course, and TikTok. And then, I'm also on social.
Yeah, you are.
It's my last name twice. It's Littley. So it's at Littley on Instagram. And then I'm on my 4th Twitter handle. I've been deleted.
Yeah,
honey, I don't even know.
I'm sorry.
I don't even know. And what's crazy? I mean, at this point, I'm so okay with it. But it's funny because I have people that I'm friendly with that work at Twitter, and they're like, we don't even know. So on Twitter, I'm at Gregory Littley, and and I'm Littley on TikTok, and Littley on Snapchat, and whatever else comes down the line.
Love it. All right, I love you. Thanks for doing this. You're the best.
Yes. Bye.
Oh, I love Greg. That was such a different episode, right? It was such a he's so motivating. Mm-hmm. And maybe I say different because we've had a lot of comedians on lately, and I love it. But I love Greg's story.
He's funny too, though.
So he's so funny. He's so funny, and he is such a pleasure to be around. Like, no wonder he's had every job. He was able to just start and continue on. And
I'm impressed.
I loved what he said about freelancers too. I thought that was really special. that he does carve out the time for his own projects, and it's not, you know, and that he does leave the room for like an unpaid, and not unpaid, but you know, a lower paid or like a gamble job. That's
I feel like we hear that a lot from a lot of successful people that you've had on.
Like the freelancers who are either starting their own businesses or like Winnie, like, you always have to be like, have the space to do what you enjoy and don't think about like the numbers behind it. And I think that goes, you know, I need that advice. That goes for like my fucking posts and bullshit.
Me too.
You know?
Like take time to work on your own projects, you know?
And trust it. Trust that what you're putting out there, I think that's what he does. He trusts his gut and he puts, you know, he's so creative. You have to see his stuff. You're going to be blown away by all of his videos and Snapchat. Like, I love how he's like, you have such a creative mind. I'm like, me? You put it all together and like, it's seamless. Like, any like trend that I ever saw happening on like social media platforms, like when Snapchat was huge or like, you know, when we got Instagram stories or TikTok, like Greg is like at the forefront of like any new like, you know, feature that they drop, like he has mastered it. Like it was just it's always been very cool to see how he grew in that, you know.
That's awesome.
I mean, he does so much more than that. That's just those are like his own personal projects, you know? Like he does this shit for like huge brands and big companies and, you know, directs huge video shoots and stuff. So
I love that he's pitching video ideas in the podcast.
I mean, Ellen, you know? It sounded fun, right? We could do
Great
that.
idea.
Let's go to VideoCon and put me in as Borat. I did that. So you have to see this Fashion Week video, but I went to a legit fashion show.
I think I've seen it.
Hack. Probably, I might have shown it to you.
Yeah. Everyone else, though, go look it up.
It's so silly. I don't even know where it is on the internet. It's probably somewhere, but yeah, so silly. Maybe I'll post that on TikTok. I love how my brain is like, post it on TikTok. Go ahead, Anna.
What else can I post on TikTok?
Sad about all your views. Can I just say one thing? I did have a breakdown today, Ellen. I cried today. You
had a good cry? Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't know that it was good. Jared was there for me though. He hugged me and I made it through, but it was just like one of those things where I can go on the internet and like I was editing something and then I had another idea for something. Like my brain was just like all over the place. And then I'm like, oh, I should apply to this and I should do this. And then it was like 2 p.m. and I hadn't eaten yet. And I woke up at 7 a.m. like just kind of my brain, I try to calm myself down, but when I'm in this mode of like between gigs, I really can like spiral out and like I really try to control it. I work out, I eat good food, and I'm like trying to like just do things that I know are good for me. But once in a while you crack, and I cracked.
Yeah.
I cracked today.
Wow, I woke up at 7 too.
Did you get out of bed and like live life?
Yeah, but that's just my normal schedule now. I've become a 7 a.m. person, which is insane because I'm normally like a 9 a.m. person. So
I didn't get out of bed. I should say I write very well. Like I do very well in terms of like writing jokes and stuff at 7 when I wake up too early. And so I write on my phone. But then I stay in bed until like 9:30. You know what I mean? Because that's who I am.
Yeah. Do you ever miss, you still have like a nighttime schedule, I guess, so you don't really, it's still the thing. But
like
sometimes,
our HQ schedule?
Yeah, I miss the HQ schedule sometimes. It was nice to start work at like 1 p.m.,
I said this today, actually. I met this person who I might work with actually on some stuff. But I literally said today, because he was asking me about my job at HQ, and I wouldn't say it was an interview, but it was a really nice, introductory meeting. Maybe it was an interview, and I was just like shooting
Sometimes
the shit.
It's like that, yeah.
But I was saying that, for all the bullshit we've ever like complained about in jobs and stuff, like I miss that. I miss having that kind of schedule where like recurring schedule. And I miss the pressure of a daily show. Like, I think that's why I've sort of kind of envisioned myself now one day hosting the Today Show or a Good Morning America. Like, I really miss that, like, and it's over and we start again tomorrow. And like, here's the next show. You don't harp on the past. Like, I learned that very early on in HQ. I'm like a perfectionist when I perform. So like, if I would say a word wrong, like, I'd do the rest of the show, and then I'd be like, Ellen, I said, I can't believe I couldn't pronounce that fucking word on, the fucking third question. And you'd be like, who cares? Like,
no one's going to remember that.
No one remembers the one word she fucked up. But I would like beat myself up. And then finally, once you get into like a groove, I was like, nope, show's done. And you know what? If you messed up, whatever, bring it back harder tomorrow. I miss that kind of like.
You have hundreds of other shows that are going to happen.
Yeah.
So
I miss a daily show.
Next time.
I think it trained us well for either late night or morning television or whatever. I mean, I just said I lay in bed till 9:30. Is anyone going to hire me for a morning show? I'll change. I can change.
You can change your cycle. It happens.
I swear to God. You do. I mean, we all did for that job. Like we really,
Yeah,
mornings
for sure.
were like your time, and then you had to like work afternoon and night, and it was just life. That was it.
That's life.
Yeah. I love that. I kind of feel like I have that coming where something's going to change my routine and I want it to happen. Like I need a change in my routine right now. It's going to freak me out for like 2 days. Like I remember being freaked out about the HQ schedule. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to work 7 nights in a week. Like, whoa, like goodbye comedy shows. Like it was just a lot, but then I loved it. So you adapt.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't want to go back to 7 days a week working every night,
now.
No, because you can't have a life if that happens. Like you can't go to the comedy shows. You can't even go see a movie like with your friends.
I'll take 6 nights. You're right. Yes. I'll do 6 nights.
How about 5 nights? Let's just make it. Or some people want 4-day work weeks. I mean, I'm down for that.
No, I'm like Greg. I need more. Put more on my plate. I'm ready for it.
Give me less. Good. I'll take less. Thank you.
Okay. I'll take some of your days. All right, guys, you know the drill. If you want to be a part of this podcast, please call in. Okay. We got a phone number. We got a sexy little voicemail thing happening. Like it's 1997, or you can call and leave us a voicemail. It could be a phony phone call. It could be, bitching out your boss. It could be, I don't know. You want to tell us a funny job story. If you want to be on the podcast, you can let us know what you have to say. If it's not something you want us to air. Also, you can email us, unemployedteam@gmail.com. Leave us a little review if you liked what you heard. I love this episode. Make sure you follow Greg and follow us on socials. You can DM us. There are so many ways to get in touch. So get in touch, babe. We want it. We want to hear from you. That's all I got. Enjoy all the other episodes. We're almost at 100. We're almost at 100. Okay, bye. Yay, bye. Right now, I just want to take a moment to thank everybody who has supported our Patreon. This is your shout out right here from me. Tons of love. And if you haven't checked out our Patreon, all of our videos go up there. Sometimes I just write fun things because I feel like it. And it's just a really nice way to support us at Unemployed and, so we can keep this thing going. We do it for nothing. We do it for fun. We do it for you to listen to. So definitely check out the Patreon. And right now, huge shout out to our patrons, Bill Horton, Chi of Steele, Danielle McCartney, Lori Jackson, Jeannie Logan. We got Joe Galati, Chris Arneson, Jordan Lucero, Oscar Yuen, Ken Levin, and Vic Terry. Thank you so much. You have no idea how much it means to us, and I appreciate you, and I see you, and I love you.